Hi, and welcome to insidetracks.co.uk. At Inside Tracks, we do several things. We have a website where you can find useful data like track facts, which can help you with your trading. We also provide a daily newsletter with hints and tips on the day's racing. And of course, we provide videos such as this, which share experience on all types of ways to make money out of Betfair. If you like this video, please click the link. And also subscribe if you want to be alerted to new videos. Today, I'm going to address a question put to me by one of our newsletter subscribers, Calvin. He asks, how can I choose long shots that are successful? And so that's what I'm doing. I'm going to show you which is the process that I go through to make long shot choices that are more likely to be successful in the long term. But first of all, let's get some definitions sorted out. What is a long shot? Well, a long shot can be defined as a selection whose price is generally over 5-1 and whose chance of winning is far better than his odds. Okay, so that means that we're looking for reasons why this horse could do better than winning 1 time out of 5. Why do we choose over 5-1? Well, because this will allow an each weight bet on a normal sports book to deliver at least a neutral return if it goes close. Normally, that's the top 3. So generally speaking, you'll get 1/5 the odds with most bookmakers if you do an each way bet. So that's why we look for 5-1, but that does not mean that the horse has to be 5-1. What you've got to do is look for a horse, and it's the most important thing. A long shot must be demonstrably good value. Now, what I'm going to do is go through some of the criteria that I use to show or to demonstrably show that the horse is too long in its odds and is good value, therefore. So, choosing a long shot, the first thing to do is choose a race with plenty of form. It's no good choosing a long shot from a group of horses that haven't raced very much. If you've watched my videos before, I tend to go for 4-year-old plus handicaps because they have the most form on display, and therefore you're not going to get any major surprises. And if you do use those types of races, then the form scan option on ATR is really quite useful. So let me show you how the form scan works if you don't already know. So here we are at Southall and the 7:10, which is tonight. Quite a few runners, 13 runners, and what you notice is it's a 4-year-old plus handicap. So when we go into ATR, it generally gives you the race card and tells you what time form thinks is going to happen. But what you can do is click on the form scan, and this tells you 3 of the most relevant races that have been contested between the current runners. So you generally find 3 here, and it'll tell you how Mighty Gurkha got on the 12th of March 2022 at Wolverhampton 6 furlong standard, and it tells you that Mighty Gurkha was 9th versus Whitler Woods, who was 1st, carries £6 less and we're behind 7.1 lengths. And that was the date of the race. Now, generally speaking, they take about £2 a length. So that means that he would need to be £12 less to make that amount of distance up, a bit more actually, 14 lengths. So basically they rate Mighty Gurkha as on that form not going to beat Whittle Woods. Okay, so you go down all the different horses, and you can see that Mighty Gurkha has 3 horses where the ATR ratings for the form shows that he hasn't got much of a chance of beating any of these 3 horses. It's quite useful because you actually look for 3 greens, and then you can actually see where these horses have a chance against which other horses. How I generally use Form Scan, I look at the top 3 in the betting, and I see, is there something going to be able to beat those top 3? So Whittle Woods is the favourite. They're saying he's got a good chance of beating Mighty Gurkha, but they say on this form, over 7 furlongs at Wolverhampton, Mudlahim will have a chance of reversing that form. So let's have a look at then seeing whether Mudlahim will give us a long shots chance, shall we? So what we're going to do next is we're going to go in and we're going to see what does it mean about Mudlahim. So here we are with the form for Mudlahim. Scott Dixon trains, Jack Duran is the jockey. Last 14 days, Scott Dixon has had 9 runners with no winners, and Jack has had 4 runs with no winners. 28 to 1 you're going to get on Betfair, so you should be able to get 30 or more on Betfair. And that's the race that we're talking about, 6 furlongs, Whittle Woods. But what we want to do next is to say, click that button there, wins and places, and that will tell you where this particular Mudlahim runs best, has his best form, where he's won or where he's been placed. Now we can see clearly that this horse, best form, is on 7 furlongs. That's where he's won, and that's where his all 3 wins have been on the all-weather. So on the all-weather, 7 furlongs, and Dundalk, Kempton, and Wolverhampton, 3 different courses. So clearly he just likes the all-weather, and he's won with quite a untrained jockey. I bet you Maya Biggs actually hasn't had that many winners. We'll just have a quick look at that, shall we? Now, both winners that Maya Biggs has had have come from this particular horse, in fact. So we're seeing here that even though this horse has been shown to have maybe a chance of turning the form, it would be much better for us if it was over 7 furlongs. So this is how I use Form Scan, and I'm just going to go into the other reasons why you need to use other tools. So yeah, we've looked at Form Scan, and we've also looked at one of the horses' form. And generally speaking, what you need to do is look at all the horses' form, or certainly those that you believe from the Form Scan have a chance of winning. You look at what course. So we did that. Mudlahim was good for different courses, so we weren't having a problem with that. Distance, yes, we were. We thought that Mudlahim would be better in this race if it was a 7 furlong race. And the going, the most successful at, well, he liked the all-weather. So that wouldn't have been a problem either. So it was just the distance we were worried about. So we then go back in and we say, okay, that doesn't show us a lot and doesn't mean that we think that he's going to do best, or is a really good choice long shot. Things aren't aligning absolutely. So we'll look at another, and we'll look at the next one. And then we come up and see whether there was a horse that we did think was a good long shot to take on the favourites. Look at the current OR official rating. So again, that's quite simple. You go, when you're going into the horse, You look at the official rating, and you look at the best form it has. So as we just did, and we'll see that the horse has won over whatever the official rating is. There's won over, and we'll look at today's official rating and see how that compares to his last winning rating. And what can happen is that a horse runs over the wrong distance or runs poorly a couple of times, and a capper then will reduce the rating, and horses can slip down the official ratings quite quickly if the trainers run them over maybe slightly the wrong distance or wrong courses, and that happens. And then you'll find that the official rating they are today is a few numbers below their last winning official rating, and that gives you a good view as to whether they've got an okay chance. Look for jockeys or trainers coming back into form. Well, in that last clip I showed you with FormScan, we looked at the jockey, Jack Durrant, hadn't won for 14 days. Trainer hadn't won for 14 days. That would kind of put me off. You do like to see trainers and jockeys who are in form. That does actually bolster your feeling that this long shot will win. And you look for changes in that the horse is going to have from its last runs. I did a whole piece on headgear, and basically what happens is that a trainer will look at a horse and see how it's running, and if it's a horse that maybe when it gets in front it gets lazy, it looks around, it stops, then headgear often is a big benefit. And the first time headgear can bring out some decent improvement in form. Jockey changes, again, if you see a horse that has been had apprentices or a not such a good jockey on it, and you see a big jockey booking, that is a definite indication that the trainer thinks a big run is going to come. So, for example, James Doyle goes to Lingfield, and he gets put up on a horse that has had maybe the apprentice ride it the last couple of occasions. It's run pretty well, but hasn't gone up in the ratings, or maybe even gone down in the ratings. Then you could be pretty sure that the addition of a really good jockey will bring out an extra 2 or 3 lengths in that horse's performance. And what can happen also in changes is that horses change stables. So you'll often see in the description, first time out for its new stable, and it actually has a little one beside the trainer's name, and that tells you that the trainer is the first time out for that trainer. First time out for trainers, different trainers can produce different results. As we all know, we see Manchester United sack their manager, and the new manager comes in, and just because of that change and the way that the things happen and the change in circumstances and training and so on, can bring out a significant improvement in the team that new manager goes into. Similarly with horses, they get used to a trainer, they get used to the ways, they get lazy, and they don't react as well with that routine. So take them out, put them into a new stable, and they get a different routine, maybe a bit more of something that suits them, and they come out. There are certain trainers who are really quite well known to bring out significant improvements. One of those is Mick Appleby. If you ever see horses moving from fairly decent yards, which haven't got good results from that horse, then if they move to Mick Appleby's, they often come good. So we'll now try and find a long shot that matches. Right, so we've come to the 8-10 tonight at Southall. We're going to look at trying to see whether we can find a long shot. So I've gone into FormScan, and we're looking for who's going to be able to beat Kaloo. So we're looking down to Kaloo, and we've only got a small amount of information about that horse. It's quite lightly raced, but it has raced against Blackcurrant. The Current's £4 pounds less than when it was ahead by 0.3. So it can beat Blackcurrant again. So Blackcurrant is unlikely to beat this horse. This horse, by the way, has also had 2 runs and 2 wins on the course. So this looks a pretty strong, solid favourite, I would say, with experience and good course and distance experience, fairly unexposed, probably got a bit more improvement. So we're looking for something that can beat Blackcurrant. So I've been through it and I've looked for the different ones and look for which ones can actually potentially beat Blackcurrant by further than Kaloo, and therefore give us a chance. So Rabith looks like he can beat Blackcurrant, Harrogate potentially, and Ustath. So we're going to have a look at Harrogate and just see what that says to us. So Harrogate has a chance. So when we look at the wins and places for Harrogate, one thing you notice is there's no all-weather there. And in fact, if you look at his overall weather form, it's very poor. He's run 10 times, he hasn't won at all, and he hasn't placed either. So by doing this, we're saying, actually, we really don't like that. If this is a turf race, we might like it. In fact, this would be an idea where you go, oh, now we've moved to turf. If this was at Catterick or something over 5 furlongs, you would suddenly start having a different opinion about Harrogate, and you'd start saying if the odds were the same, you'd have a real think about whether to punt that or not, and whether that would be a long shot or not. So we don't like Harrogate because this is not all weather. So let's have a look at Rabith. So Rabith, we think might be able to beat Blackcurrant, and if it can beat Blackcurrant, then we might have a chance of challenging the favourite. We can see wins and places. He's won at Southwell over 5 furlongs in February. Slowly away towards the rear. Switch, ridden, 3-1 over. Okay, so that's good news. Another one, 3rd, and so he likes Wolverhampton and Southwell. And what we've got to see now is where is his current OR. So if his OR is somewhere around 46, we should be happy. 49, slightly higher than we want, but still not bad for that. So only in February he was winning a Class 6 at Southwell. That's not bad. So he's a candidate. Rabith is a candidate. He's also beat Billy Dillon, but he's behind Brandy Street. And you can see that Billy Dillon is also behind Ustath. So we've got another possibility, which is Ustath. So Rabith's definite possibility. Let's have a look at Ustath and see what he has to offer. We'll do it. So it's Roger Fell. Is a good trainer. Ben Curtis, good jockey. He's won. He hasn't won a lot. He knows he has. All weather. It's not a bad record, but better than the turf. And let's have a look at his wins and places. Southwell, 6 furlongs. 6 furlongs, 6 furlongs, 5 furlongs he has won at. That would have been back in November. Prominent, okay, at 61. So we're now looking for his OR, 57 versus 61. That's quite useful to know. And it may well be that he's won at Thirsk over 6 furlongs, but basically most of his winning has been, well, some of his winnings been over 5 furlongs. So he's clearly got the speed. Wolverhampton 5 furlongs as well. You need the speed there. So he's got a chance. He's also moved stables, but not recently. And so we quite like the look of that. He's definitely close to where we want to be, but he's 9-2. I'm sure we can get a 5-1, but at the moment he's 9-2. He's not well handicapped against Harrogate, but we know that Harrogate doesn't really run on the all weather. So here we are, and we've probably got 2 candidates for being long shots: Rabith and Eustath. So those are the 2. And if you had to ask me, Rabith is 33-1. Seems like an awfully long price, that to me. And I think that Rabith may well be one that you'd want to think about going with. He's clearly not in good form, and clearly the market tells you that they don't think hasn't got a chance. Whereas our fella here, 7.4, that's an okay price. You can certainly get 5-1. So you can get 5-1. So he does match the odds that we want. So Eustath is a definite possibility. We know that this particular favourite is probably quite a strong favourite, and he's giving you actually not such short odds as you'd think. Harrogate they don't like because of his turf form, and for some reason they don't like Rabith. Now I'm going to just do the race card side of things. Let me just do that. And let's just have a look and see what they say. Course and distance winner, we know that. 1 win from 31 flat races, winner here in February. Below form 5th. Okay, this course and distance, slowly away. Has work to do. Yeah, so, yeah, I can't see that says to me that he should be 33-1, honestly. He's won at course and distance. It's a class 6. This is no great shakes, this race. Even though there's only 1 win from 31, he's done well, and he's got some places in there. And he's won as recently as February, so he's not so out of form. It's only a month on from there, a bit more. So basically, I'm not sitting here thinking that Rabith is a 33-1 shot, and I'd be interested in doing a bit more research on that. But he does stand out as being something that you'd say he's probably got his chance along with the rest. So he probably should be something like 14-1, and he's 33s. So I think he's probably got a better chance than quite a few of these. So he's probably better than 14-1. He's probably more like a 8 or 9-1. So that's the way in which I choose a long shot, and that's why when you see me posting long shots in the newsletter, I will give you some reasons why I've done it. Then it's up to you how you want to play it. I mean, this particular horse, you could say, well, it's better than its odds. If it doesn't get away slowly, then it will almost definitely trade lower than 32, which it currently is at. Here we can see it, but Betfair is at 32, so it will definitely trade lower than that. You'd only need it to trade down to 16 to get a Dobbins to double your money. So that might be a way you want to do it. Or let's have a quick look and see. No, we won't have a look at that. But you would say that you would get maybe 6-1, 6 or 7 on the places. Maybe go for a top 4. So you maybe get 5-1. You get 5-1 top 4 for Rabith versus these ones winning at the same sort of odds. Or you do it each way, and you hope that he comes in the top 3. And if he does, he'll make money. And if he wins, of course, you make lots of money. So it'll be up to you what you want to do. If you're cautious, you can make quite decent money out of this. You could back it for a fiver, and then you could take £2.50 out at 20 to 1. No problem. Done. I think that would be really quite a simple bet. I don't see it staying at 32. You probably even get longer than that if you're waiting around and you're watching the race. Probably get better than 32, so you probably get something like 30, 38, or maybe 40. At which point you only need to go down to 24. You're almost, it's not a lot to make money on this particular horse. Or if you want to play it a bit safer, you've got the chance here with sort of 7 odd with Yusuf, and you can play that as a dob, because I would think that horse will probably come down to 3.4, which is what it needs to go down to for a dob, or once again take less, but it will I believe definitely will trade lower in running. So that's the way in which I choose long shots. I like to see something that's got a decent chance against the favourite. We see that Eustace has, but actually the favourite is still just favourite, but it's not so big. I thought it was going to be quite a lot shorter than that. So I'm probably not thinking about staying in this area where I was before. I'm probably thinking about coming down here and taking a nice little back to lay. Not get too ambitious, but with either the stake or how much I'm looking to get off it, but it will definitely go and trade below 32 is my prediction. Probably down to about, well, the sky's the limit really. If I'm right in my analysis, Rabith should be up there in the top 3 or top 4, at which point you could trade as low as sort of 6 or 5 or 4. So you could make some really quite decent money out of that. Okay, that's nearly it. So Calvin, that's how I choose long shots. I can use other information that I have. I look at the videos. Obviously, this is a short view. I do more in-depth analysis. I like to watch the races. I like to see, particularly the races where one horse has been up against another, and you think, yeah, it's only lost by 2 or 3 lengths or whatever. Let's go and have a look at that race and see whether, in fact, that 2 or 3 lengths was flattery because the horse in front, won it easily and sort of pulled up, or whether that 3 lengths was him running on and he had trouble in running. So there are all sorts of things you need to do to make sure that your choices are there. But as you've just seen, Rabith, I'd now probably say, okay, before I start doing a bet on Rabith, I'd want to go and look at some of the videos I've been running, just to satisfy myself that I'm not somehow missing something that tells that the market is saying, he's really not that good and he should be 33 to 1. My opinion, having looked at that in the brief way I have and gone through the processes I have, I think that is a candidate for a long shot and deserves more focus and attention before then I'd put it up as in the way I said I would, which is to do a back to lay on it. Okay, if you like this video, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Join the newsletter, it's free. It's on the website. Go to the website, have a quick look around, see whether you like what you see there, and see you next time. Cheers then.